Fantasy Sports Show. You are now listening to the Inside Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we've got a treat for you this evening. I am the big horse, Mickie Dell. Joining me, the original, the one and only, Machito Owens. I mean, the Herbie Bull. Justin, how are you, brother?
I'm the king of Frankston. That's what I am. If you haven't heard, I'm
How
back,
you been,
baby.
mate? Yeah, it's been a couple of months, and the people have been screaming for you. What have you been doing?
Well, I made my comeback to local footy for the first time in 7 years. Previously undefeated team. Me and a mate went there, and then we made them not undefeated. So we had a big loss, and then I injured my knee again, and I've retired again. So
Okay.
I'm back into retirement, mate. So I'm all yours. I'm all yours with the potty. I've got free time now. My footy career is done again.
So this is why, the sole reason why Marek went number one in the mid-season draft is because you did your knee. Is that right?
Yeah. There was talks. North was going to get me. Obviously, the Eagles would have liked some dash off half back. A bit of a Sheasel Dacos type. Which is what I was going to bring as a 32-year-old thirds footy player. But it wasn't meant to be. So we move on to bigger and better things like the Inside Fantasy Sports Podcast.
That's it. And look, when you look at North Melbourne, Wardlaw, Sheasel, Eddie Mazda, Justin Herbert, it would have been the awesome foursome.
It's okay though, mate. It's okay. We're coming. I've been so long out of the potty that North were full of optimism when I was last on the potty, right, with Clarko and stuff. I think it was before the season, right? Then we were just shit. Yeah. And now it's the Brett Ratton revolution. So let's go.
It's big. Right? It's big.
Wardlaw.
Now
Wardlaw, Shees. It's gonna be big.
It's gonna be amazing. I expect it to be. But for those of you on the way home from work, heading to work, sitting in the lounge on a Friday night, sipping on a cold stubby, or wherever it is you may be listening to us, welcome. We're running a live show before tonight's game. Yes, we are mindful that Thursday night's game has already been played. But if you follow us on social media, and you should on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the good sources. We did put out a post last night saying that the two options that we would have thought of or that we recommended last night were either VCing Marshall or Errol Goulden. It looked as though Errol Goulden was stuck on a wing and couldn't get much of the ball. But if you got 119 for Marshall, would you be VCing that, Justin?
I don't think so. Nah. I think I'll just go for it. You got to cut quite a few more games. You got Dacos, Dawson, Lockie Neal, if you still believe him. He's only versing the Hawks. I don't know. There's a couple other options. Would you?
No, I wouldn't. No. But for someone who wants, I guess, a confirmed 238 in their team, when you're only playing your best 18 and how inconsistent scoring's been lately, you could definitely do worse. But we move on. We've got a couple of comments in the chat rolling through, which is good to see. For everyone watching at home, feel free to message us on our social media pages or jump on YouTube, send us a comment or a question. We'll address that as we go. But our first one, which I think is pretty prevalent, we called you Machito Owens, but someone reckons you're his dad.
Yeah, there's a big.
You're a much better footy player.
Yeah. He's good. He's no doubt. I talked to you about him today. He's a star. Like, he's going to be so good. And I will proudly be his father. So Mitch Owens, if you're out there, mate, I think I've got a few brothers and sisters. I'll take them on board too. Come to the Herbie household.
Yeah.
We'll
looking for that inheritance, brother. Yeah. and look at this. Look at the cheek.
There's a good Japanese all-you-can-eat joint around the corner. Which
absolutely there is.
really enjoy. So feel free,
Look
mate.
at this.
Come on.
Junkie, I'm waiting for Dell to have a beer.
What is that?
No
Is that
beer.
a vodka?
No, it is. It's a vodka lemonade tonight. I'm going nice and easy at the moment. But yeah, I had a few frothies a few weeks back, and I don't know, just the beers at the moment aren't doing it for me. So I'm on some of the easier to swallow stuff at the moment. We'll just put it that way.
Good lad.
But anyway, let's talk about last night's game. Did you watch it?
I did. Yeah. I was filthy.
Yeah.
I was on the Swannies because I thought they can't lose for Buddy's 350th.
Mm.
And just shit the bed, really. Like,
Yeah, they choked a bit, didn't they? I thought they had the run. They knew it was like they had control of the game, and then the last quarter, St Kilda just overrun them. Yeah, it was just
my son,
just weight of possession.
The hands, I told my son, Mickie boy, get your hands out, don't drop the bloody ball, and he just delivers, mate. He is gonna be, honestly, a top 5-10 players in the next couple of years. He's a superstar. I don't know how shocked you were at just how good he is, but he's just coming out of nowhere. It's just is it his first or second year? It's his second, isn't it?
It's his second year, but he's still eligible for the old school Norwich Rising Star Award. So when you're looking at that, I have a look on Sportsbet. I think you'll find that Michito Owens is shortening quite significantly, and Sheasel is drifting a little bit. So
I'll give you a reason why we bought that.
Yeah, hang on. We'll talk about that spud later.
I'll shut my mouth.
Yeah, and we're not talking about Sheasel being the spud. We're talking about that jerk Hall. But anyway, we'll get on to him later. Our scores from last night: Sinclair 125. He's bouncing back to form. Crouch 123, fairly consistent there. Rowan Marshall 119. I'll tell you who is going to be a player alongside Owens is that Wangani Malera. He looks really nice with ball in hand, doesn't he? He passes the eye test.
He's just silk in class, isn't he?
Yep. Wilkie, he's been pretty consistent. He's had a couple of down games this year, 108. And Jack Steele, 85. He's really having a down year. If you don't have Jack Steele yet, I'm recommending that you stay away from him this year from now on. He's not really pumping out the numbers as he did. It looks as though in Ross Lyon's system, there's not really much scope in the way of a high-performing, high-scoring Supercoach player. It's very well spread. It's well structured. It's very defensive. I'd probably stay away from Steele for now. For Sydney, Ollie Florent, 112. He was spoken about earlier this year, but again, he's a bit inconsistent. Chad Warner, 107. I'll put this to you, mate. Are you aware that Chad Warner has only played 50-odd games?
Is he really? How old is he?
At his 50th 2 weeks ago. So that was his 51st or 52nd game. But he's a real player for the future too, Chad Warner.
How old is he? Do you know? Is he young?
Early 20s. Yep. I'll let you research that while I get through some numbers. Campbell, 101. Rowbottom, 86. But then you look through the list there, 75. Again, disappointing a lot of people. Keep going. Rampy. Now, people jumped on Rampy at the start of the year when he went 140, 134. He was mid-300s. And we recommended to people, don't jump on him. He's worse than a roller coaster with his up and down form. And, yeah, what's he get? 66 alongside Goulden, 62. Like, that hurts. This is why you stay away from those sorts of players. Blakey, off the back of signing a mega deal, 58. But I don't know about you, but he looks a Supercoach player for the future.
He will be, but he'll have 7 years of disappointment because he'll just be seeing the Kangas win premiership after premiership when he could have been the father son of Sir John Blakey, and he just decided to go up there. What a stupid move.
What a stupid man. Now, tonight's game, we'll Kanga from one of the boys. Dan Butler got a one-game ban for that tackle on Nick Blakey. Well, we expect that to be contested by the team. Has anyone got less trades left than Damo? I don't know if you can have any less than 0, but he's definitely got bugger all left. Man,
I've got stuff all trades left. I think we talked about it when we were in person a couple of weeks ago. I've got 10 now. How many are you at?
8.
8.
8.
The Damo special, hey?
Well, I've had to pump out 3 this week, and I'm still holding Oliver.
Yeah.
So the promising thing is when I get, if you can call Hawkins a top end sort of guy, when he comes back, I'll have a field full of primos. Yeah. So I've sort of conceded now that my overall progress is probably not where I want it to be. So now I'm going to start looking at winning leagues now.
Yep.
Tonight's game anyway, Western Bulldogs versus Port Adelaide. What do you reckon?
Oh, I reckon looking at it, you got a VC Bont. It's a really weird game to look at, to be honest. Like you'd want to think that Port has to just have an off week, don't they? They've just been going too well.
They've been going very well, yeah.
Too impressive last week. But I heard Max Gawn's comments today about it, and he's like, they go, "Who's going to win tonight?" He goes, "Oh, Port easy." And for someone in the know, right, to just have a quick reaction like that, it's kind of like, well, yeah. I mean, Rosie, I've missed the Butters train. It's too expensive now, but Rosie's killing it. That's the only player I've got. I've got Lord. I don't think he's playing this week, is he? But yeah, it's an interesting week. Are you on the? You got Butters? You were early on him, weren't you?
No, I was early on Rosie. I don't have Butters. But if I told you that there was one player between both these two teams in the last 3 matches has averaged 140 Supercoach points, who would you tip? Who would you think that person would be?
Last 3 games?
Last 3 games when Port Adelaide have played Western Bulldogs, there's a single player that's averaged 140 Supercoach points.
It's not going to be
Who do you
Bont.
think that is?
It's not going to be
it's
Bont.
It's not the Bond?
Not Bont, it's not Rosie, and it's not Butters. Is it?
It's not. I wish it was.
Oh, is it Travis Boak?
Connor Rosie averages 140 in his last 3 games against the Western Bulldogs.
Oh, hey.
You've heard that here first.
Yeah,
so, do you tempt fate and slap a VC on him even though you've got Bont? I'm nearly not like, and this is just my opinion, and this is why we do the show. Like, we're very out there with our comments and what we predict, but with Bontempelli he got a bit of a knee knock last week. Is that going to mean that he's a bit off the pace tonight?
Yeah, I don't know. His last couple of weeks have been a little bit slow, but I mean, what was it slow? And last week, what did he score? It was over 100, wasn't it? So, I mean, he's a good, safe type of bet just to have.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. He's one that like kind of passes the eye test more than he does kind of like the Supercoach stats most of the time. You just see him gets the ball, he uses it so well, and you're just kind of mesmerized by him. But for me, he's just the safest pick. Like Rosie, I feel like Rosie is awesome, but Rosie could go for like, a golden type of score of 56 or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's what scares me a little bit. Whereas Bont's lower type of bracket is, he's at least going to give you 80 or 90.
Yeah, you're right. So, English for VC, yes or no? He's up against Lysette.
It's a great call. Who said that?
Good call. Lysette isn't great. I only played half a game last week, whether it was just to keep him fresh for this game or what their thinking was. And then they've got Finlayson. You could definitely do worse. I think if you had to pick between English and Bont, I've got Bont, but I'd pick English tonight.
Yeah, well, what English has been strong for this year, I think more is just his like pack marking. That's just come to a whole new level.
And he's very good below his knees for a big too.
Yeah, it's kind of like Max Gawn type, where he's just like the balls. You know what it reminds me of? I literally thought this the other day watching him. It reminds me of junior footy, where you're just like looking for the big boy ruck anywhere. Then he just clunks it wherever he goes. You're just like, oh, where's my ruck? Where's my ruck? English is kind of
100%.
making men look like boys out there, so that's a good call. I don't mind it. I've got how long have I got? About an hour to decide if I should do that.
Yep. So the outs for tonight: Tim O'Brien, Ryan Gardner, Ed Richards. If you've still held Oscar Baker, he's out, and Lachlan McNeil. I don't know whether he's any relation to the McNeil family that have race horses, but who cares? You're out of the team, mate. See you later. In comes Josh Bruce, Alex Keith, Latham Vandermeer, and the son of Scott West, Riley. In for Port Adelaide, Travis Boak and Charlie Dixon. That's a big in for them. Ollie Lord is out and first emergency. Boak's in too.
Both.
Yeah. So they're two big ins for Port Adelaide tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
We move on. Hawthorn versus Brisbane. This should be an absolute poleaxing if Brisbane want to stamp themselves as a genuine premiership contender. What do you reckon? Yeah. Hawthorn, James Sicily, and the seaman himself, Seamus Mitchell, is back. Potentially the person who uses the football the worst in the AFL, Sam Frost, he is out. See you later. Bailey McDonald, I don't even know who he is, and Cam McKenzie out of the side. My big thing for Hawthorn this week, if anyone's looking at VCing James Sicily, is don't. Why? Is because they've been using shooting Blanks, whatever Blank's first name is, as one of the big key backs. Sam Frost is another key back, which has allowed James Sicily to play as that third tall / intercept marker, a kick behind the ball type of player. Sicily almost has to take the second big now. And when you're talking about a forward line that consists of Danaher, Gunston, Hipwood, I think they're going to look to isolate their three bigs and drag Sicily back to the goal square and try and isolate Blank up the ground a little bit more. So when we're talking about a VC option for Hawthorn, I would not touch James Sicily this week.
Yeah, I agree. I mentioned that about Zeeble, how Zeeble last year was our third tall defender because we had a lot of injuries, and I think this was pre-Griffin Logue. And his super scores were just non-existent, right? Compared to when he played that half-back type of role that, they look to. He takes the kick outs, they kind of look to like get the ball down the line and dispose the ball really well. So anybody playing any key type of back role, no matter how much of a gun they are, it's really, really hard to score well. The only exception this year, I think, has been like Darcy Moore, who's stringed a couple of good together. But other than that, it's been pretty difficult.
Young Junkie here. If English doesn't score well, I'm looking at putting the C on Neil. Ballsy, but I don't mind it because I think Connor Nash is going to go to Dunkley.
Yeah, that's a good call.
When you're looking at the Brisbane Lions outs, Ryan Lester, Dane Zorko, I know he's a pretty high percentage owned player. He's out. James Madden and Caden Coleman out. Jack Payne, Devin Robertson, Jackson Pryor. For me, it's Brisbane by the length of the Flemington Straight, or it should be. Next game, Adelaide versus West Coast. At Adelaide Oval, we know Adelaide play well at home. This should be a pizzling as well. In for Adelaide, Josh Worrell out, Dow D or Do D or however you say his name, and McHenry. And for West Coast, they've got a few decent ins. They've got Luke Shuey's back, so he'll probably do his hamstring in the first quarter. Jack Darling's back. Sam Petrevsky-Seaton back. Luke Edwards back. And first game, a number one pick in the mid-season draft, Ryan Marrick in. Good to see him getting a kick. What do you reckon of those ins?
Yeah, they're decent, hey. And they showed a crack. They had a big crack last week. They were down by as little as like 10 points. took it up to Collingwood. So obviously they're showing belief and backing in their coach.
Yeah.
But Adelaide is probably like it might be the toughest trip in footy right now.
That's almost like playing Hawthorn in Tassie. I know Hawthorn aren't good, but we all know Hawthorn play well in Tassie.
Yeah.
And Kangaroos.
And I'm just waiting
sorry.
for shit. I'm waiting for them to be shit because I don't like a certain guy called Ryan who supports them.
Yes, sir.
I'm just waiting for and then Kangaroos overleap them and just win the next 6-7 flags. So that would be great.
Yeah. So Shannon Hearn's out. That's a big out for them. Liam Duggan also out. I reckon he's probably winning or going close to their BNF at the moment. Josh Rotham out. Callum Jamison out. Connor West out. And Elijah Hewitt, after meeting to go his shoulder, report is he has a headache and he's out this week. Adelaide, probably by a lot.
Yeah. 60
A
plus.
quick one before we move on from this game. Ben Keys. What do you reckon?
Oh,
he's priced at 460,000. He's a mid forward, and he scored 200s in a row, and he's back to playing his midfield role. What do you reckon?
Is he back to playing mid?
He is.
I don't know why has he made the shift back? Like who or into the midfield? Who's been?
It almost looks like it's been a bit of a structure change. And the last 2 weeks, he's got mid-20s in regards to touches, tackles. He's getting around the ball a little bit more. He was playing a lot as like a forward tagger or as a negator, but now they've put him back into the middle. I think it's value for money right there. I'm not going to go as hard on him as I did Ollie Wines. Toot, toot. But when we're talking about Ben Keys, I think there's scope there that he could potentially be a top 8 forward by the end of the year.
Yeah, that's a big call. I think it's just because Adelaide's pretty good this year. Ben Keys, he provides a lot of pressure up forward, and he's pretty smart. He's pretty smart around the goals too. I've watched him, and a couple of his goals have just been super impressive. It's a good shout. It's a good shout, especially for midfield time.
Sloan has moved forward.
Fuck, that's
there you
weird.
go.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Hey, are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Is that Justin or George Wardlaw? Wow.
Oh,
he can't be talking about me because I'm Brad Pitt, so he must be. Yeah.
I'm just looking for my Brownlow medal. Oh, it's all right. Oh, no. Hey, that's coming next September. Sorry, ladies.
Good boy. Love a good gag, mate. Anyway, we move on. Freo versus Richmond in Perth. 1 in for Fremantle. Liam Henry at this stage. They'll have to bring in another one. Out. 2 big outs, actually. Jaeger O'Meara and Big Sean Darcy. In for Richmond, Nick Vlosten. Out is Hugo Ralphsmith and Noah Cumberland. He's gone. So, what are we doing? Freo?
Yeah, I'll take Freo. I don't think Richmond were impressive last week at all. And then I would, in terms of Supercoach wise, stay very away from Nat 5 because this could be his farewell game if he's playing. Is he playing?
He's playing, yep.
He is playing.
He's been named at centre-half forward, which we all know is nothing to go on.
I think the one to get on, I don't know how much he's priced at, is Westone, because Liam Baker has been chucked forward and he's been doing well as a forward as well. A high pressure type of forward. Because I got him for 15 every week, and last week he really made me work for it, right? So if he's that class of half back, Bostone, and Baker's up forward, Bostone could be the go. I don't know what he's priced at though, but
I think Fremantle look really good, and they're setting themselves up to be good for a long time. They don't have many older players in their team. Their core of Sarong, Brayshaw, Jackson, Clark, Brennan Cox, Young, Hayden Young down back. They're all really, really young players and really good predominant players who have been playing well at the AFL level for this would be their second, third year now. So, and look, Sarong's come on really well this year. And that Jai, he doesn't miss a miss. He's going to be a really nice forward too, moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he looks the part very, very early. His frame hasn't even filled out at all. And yeah, he's looking real good.
Now, next game. The reason why we brought yourself on the show. North Melbourne versus GWS. Let's be honest, it doesn't matter where it is. North are going to win, but they're playing at Bloodstone Arena in Tasmania. How did North normally play down at Tassie?
What I do is, if I'm everybody, I would just call up whatever financial institution you're with and just say, what's the maximum loan that I can get? And then just say, and then just hide that from your significant other for like 48 hours. And then within 48 hours, you would have like tripled your money, right? Somehow. So say you get a $500,000 loan, 1.5 million in the bank, that's 1 million cleared. Yeah. So North are like nearly $3 for this game, and it's a certainty. Like, we play good down at Tassie. Giants are shit. North are coming, right? We've got Wardlaw, Sheasel. Who else? Simpkin's not playing, is he? Simpkin or LDU aren't playing, but it's okay. Yeah, North by 40 plus this game.
That much. Wowee. Tell me, what do you think about Taron Thomas being back?
He's a star, mate. I don't care what he does. I do care what he does. I should say that. As long as he gets on the footy field and just produces, he looks so good on the weekend. Like, he was just such class. Like, he's actually the type of player that we've missed. And then for him and Sheasel to be on the same field together, we've had so many hacks of the ball that just don't know what to do with it. And to have a couple of players with a little bit of class, and then you see George Wardlaw far out, made 17 disposals, looks like 1,700 disposals, just a star in the making. Yeah, mate, it's coming home. It's coming home, Nick. Arden Street.
That's hot.
2024.
Yeah, okay. How good does Wardlaw look? Like, I know we've been taking the piss a little bit, but he, for a third, fourth gamer, just looks so cool and calm under pressure. He's not rushed at all. He did get pinned holding the ball a couple of times, but that awareness will come.
Yeah, you want it. You want it. You'd rather see him do that than just, hack the ball like a lot of like young players do. Right, I saw Round Perry's comment. Yeah, he's just he's a superstar in the making.
How much do you get paid to wear that shit? Fucking hell. Oh, he's unbelievable, isn't he?
And hey, look, Eddie Mazda is on my
Eddie Mazda. Beautiful. In case you missed it earlier, Ryan, we were just discussing why Justin didn't make the mid-season draft this year, and it's because he blew out his knee. And he's back into retirement.
I'll ask you, what do you think about this game?
Oh, I think North. I really do. North Melbourne do play well down in Hobart. Tasmania. I think GWS, that was a high-pressure game last week. Energy sapping. It was wet. It looked heavy. I think North. I think North are there and thereabouts. Like, they probably don't want to win too many games, but I think that they'll snag this one. Ryan Parry, it's about as good as the girl I fell in love with when I met Herbie. Wow.
I don't know if
I'll tell you. Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'm doing well. What's that?
I can't comment on this Ryan comment right there. I'm getting too much trouble on the line.
Robbie's just jumped on. G'day, Robbie. Missing you here, brother. English for VC tonight, lads. I don't know whether you heard before, Robbie, but Connor Rozee averages 140 Supercoach points in the last 3 games against the Western Bulldogs. If you got the nuts to do it, slap a VC on him. If not, I don't think Bontempelli tonight. I think English would be a good VC option. Bontempelli, bit of a slight knee issue last week. I don't think Port have a negator, so to speak, to stop Bond from getting his touches, but I don't think he goes uber premium tonight. We've got another one here from Ryan Parry. C. Dawson or Laird. They play West Coast. Who do you think Jinby goes to?
Dawson's more damaging.
More damaging with the ball, yeah.
So I think maybe Dawson. Laird, you can just kind of let him go. Doesn't really matter anyway, does it? Like Dawson will probably, he'll make 100-point loss, 60 points if he goes to Dawson instead of Laird.
So you're tipping that West Coast is going to win by 10 goals against Adelaide in Adelaide?
No, I'm tipping Adelaide.
I hope,
really does it.
I hope the viewers that have just jumped on here got the hint about taking out some money from their mortgage. And if you do, go through Ryan Parry. He's very good with his money. Give him a call. Slap it all on North Melbourne. Triple your money because they're paying $3 to beat GWS.
This is my recommendation.
Make a cool, cheeky meal. Slap it back in it. Pay your home off. Have a nice holiday. Thank you very much.
The question is, do you want $1 million? And I've got a formula to do it. So just follow those steps and you'll be a millionaire, ladies and gents. And we'll send you a standard squeeze.
Yeah, there you go. It's a win-win. Laird could have 10 tackles, but Dawson could go to 100% DE if he doesn't get tagged. Here's my take, Ryan. I think Jinby goes to Laird. Why? Because it's going to teach Jinby where to run as an inside midfielder and to get the ball out to his outside players. I don't think he goes with Dawson because Dawson, it's all learning experience for Jinby. Dawson will go at a high efficiency, but he does get that ball out on the outside a little bit, and that is because of Laird on the inside. So I think Jinby goes to Laird, which is going to allow Dawson to run free. If I had either of those two, well, I've got Laird, but if I had Dawson and I had to choose between the two, I'd slap a VC on Dawson. Rightio. So North by how much?
I'll say 47 points.
47.
Yeah.
For those of you watching at home, I'm going North by 3 goals.
And
next up,
we'll be calling
11
Larky because he's going to kick 11.
11 Larky. Wow.
Yeah. And then we'll say
7-11. What? That's unbelievable.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
There it is. Next game. This is a danger game for Carlton. Carlton versus Essendon at the G, 7:15, under lights. Damo, I hope you're watching because if Carlton lose, Vossi's done. He's gone. They've got no structure. I read an article today. Justin, out of their last 33 games that Carlton have played, guess how many they've won?
Last how many? 30?
33 games. Guess how many they've won?
Small March. I'd say they go 50-50. Say 14.
15 games they've won out of 33 games with a list compromising of 2 potential of the top 5 forwards in the comp in Mickie and Curnow. And then you've got Cripps, you've got Walsh, you've got Hewitt didn't play last week. But I believe he's back this week. We'll have to see. No, he's not. Pitnet, Martin, and Curnow to come back in. But when you're looking at their team, they've got Mickie, Curnow, Cripps, Wiedering as a key forward, Sard, Walsh, Doherty. The list goes on. Chera. They've got some really good players. They've just got no structure. Like, they were so stagnant and just kicking down the line last week. It was so predictable as to what they were going to do. And for Vossi to come out after the game and go, we should have probably taken the game on more, I call bullshit. You know why? Because if you had seen that halfway through the game, you'd go, right, we need to do something about this. Let's go. He was just minimising the damage because he knew if there was a turnover, he had numbers back behind the ball and they were just turning it into a dogfight. What do you reckon?
Yeah. No, I agree. They're playing. They're playing with like a sense of tightness at the moment.
Yep.
It's like then they wait until shit really hits the fan, and then like I noticed when they get the ball, they kind of look and they want to like play on straight away, but it's not natural. It's kind of just, I don't know how to say it. It's just very forced and it doesn't flow within the game. So I think a couple of times they've given the ball off and someone's got pinhole in the ball because it's really, really forced. And I just feel like they're just not playing with a sense of cohesion. But they've got a lot of talent. So I mean, if you look at like the early game this year with North, and we were terrible at that stage, and like they just beat us, and I thought that's pretty strange, right? Like that type of game was like Curnow, Mickie, they should kill. I think they kicked 10 goals between them, and they still only beat us 20 or 30 points. But I do expect a bounce back, and I expected it last week, and I expected it the week before. So I think it will come because they're just too talented not to put on the mark.
They are. My question is, are they too far gone mentally? So I wanted to be a little bit educated, believe it or not, before we jumped on the show tonight. And I rewatched the game between Carlton and Melbourne last week. And I paid particular attention to how often they burnt the run from behind, that quick handball to try and generate some run. I've got Sard in my team. I don't have Doherty, so I was just counting Sard. 14 times they burnt a handball to Sard, who was running by himself past the ball carrier to go back and just kick it long down the line. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like when you're talking about, not just from my point of view, because I have Sard, but from a game point of view and the way that teams zone up. And like I'm an Essendon supporter and we do zone up pretty well. The way teams zone up, the way they get numbers back behind the ball, the easiest way for a team to score against a zone is to move the ball quick and direct, right? None of this move back behind the ball, kick it down the line, down along the boundary, force a boundary throw in. That's just horse shit. It turns the game into a snore fest.
Yeah.
I hope Essendon win, and I hope Essendon don't bounce back this week. But this is a danger game for us because we don't play well against big, tall forwards.
Look, I think Carlton are just due. Like, if it's like what you said, if they lose this week, Voss is done. He has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep. I think
for me,
so.
it's Carlton. And then the outsiders too, which surprised me. I just looked at the odds and I thought, oh, wow. I'll be chucking the mortgage on that. No, I won't.
What are the odds?
I'll be chucking the Carlton's $2, Essendon's $1.83.
That's really short for a team that's struggling at the moment, isn't it? Righto. So any VC or C options?
I was looking at Doherty, but no, I don't think so. I'm still pretty high on Cripps, to be honest. I think he's a good price to bounce back. Doc's bounced back quite a lot, hasn't he? But yeah, for me, it's a bit of a stay away. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'll be staying away from this game, but don't be surprised if Ridley scores well again. Now that we've got Zerk Thatcher and Laverty back, I believe Zerk Thatcher will go to whichever of Curnow and Mickie play further up the ground, and Laverty will stay on the big forward closest to goal, which means Ridley's going to be able to play that third tall like Sicily, not to his level, but similar type role, which will then allow the likes of Redmond and McGrath to run off again. If Carlton play their... What's that?
Who goes to Merritt?
For Carlton, what's his name? Cottrell.
Oh, yeah.
I think Cottrell goes to him.
He's got to go to him at the start. After seeing Merritt's first quarter last week, that was right up there with Butters. Star.
Yeah.
It's the D.
Yeah. And yeah, let's see how this goes. Hopefully Essendon have a win for my sake. But anyway, 2 meter Cedar Peter, he's back. It'd be interesting to see. I know he hasn't really played a game this year. It'd be interesting to see how him and Wiedemann work together as two big forwards in our forward line. We haven't had that for such a long time. So if that works, and then we have Jesse Stringer as the third tall, and then we get some crumbing goals out of the likes of Langford and, who's playing well, Nick Martin, superstar at the moment. Menzie, Bob's up, these sorts of players. That has potential to be dangerous and probably as potent forward line as what Essendon's had for the past 15 years. So me as a supporter, I hope that works, and I hope Peter Wright's first game back Sunday goes successfully, but definitely a danger game for the Dons. Last game of the round, no more comments, so we'll get straight into that. Melbourne versus Collingwood. News today, Clayton Oliver is out. He's still in hospital with that infection in his foot. Do you think that does enough to turn the tables for Collingwood?
Nah, it's not turning any tables. Collingwood was going to win regardless. Doesn't matter.
Really?
They're just too good of a team against the better teams. Too much pressure and I think Collingwood in a nailish biter. I think Collingwood by 20 points.
Yeah. Would you look at Dacos?
Does anyone go to it this week? Doubt it.
Don't think so. No. Not with the way Melbourne play. They've got May, Lever, these sorts of players down back. Salem, Brayshaw. Yeah, I can't see any of them going to him.
Yeah, he's probably a good VC option.
It'll have to be a C option because it's the last game of the round, yeah.
Captain option after Bont that I'm looking at. Robbie Kennedy saying Melksham potentially.
Yeah, I don't
Melksham's
know. I don't think they've
Melksham's
named their teams yet. Is
Um,
Melksham still on the list, is he? But
yeah, how about yourself?
I'm looking I'm probably just looking at that now. I'll probably slap a C on Dacos. I think I'll pick a VC for tonight, and then that's not named yet. Okay. The last 3 games, Collingwood have beaten Melbourne by 1 goal, by 4 goals, by 3 goals. So it looks as though if you go on previous run of form, Collingwood have won each game. It'd be interesting to see how the Max Gawn, Brodie Grundy connection goes against Collingwood this week, especially given that it's Brodie Grundy's ex-team, and whether Brodie Grundy, you got to remember, Brodie Grundy was a part of this team last year, right? When they first brought in this game plan. So he'd be privy to how teams, that played well against them, what the opposition did and what Collingwood had to do to negate that. So I think if there's any team in a position to beat Collingwood at their own game this week, especially with De Goey out, which is I think it's a huge out for Collingwood. I think it'll be Melbourne. So I'm going to tip Melbourne this week.
Yeah, very cool.
So yeah,
like it.
they're the sides for this week we've just gone through. How's your team tracking this year so far? How are we looking?
Yes. It's not
Shit
good.
Out.
Yeah. This week I got the in my league. I'm just focused on the league. Trying to win some quick cash, and I had the team called the Easy Beats, and I just took it for granted that I would easily beat him because he's 18th. And we're in a bit of a neck and neck battle at the moment with Easy Beats. He's looking all right. So I've kind of struggled. I've been about mid-table in my league. I don't think I'm doing too well. I'll name my team. I've got Dacos, Geordie Dawson, Doherty, Chase Jones. I've had to keep Buckley. I've had to keep Chinkota. Bont, Dunk, Sarong, Rosie, Neil, Tommy Green, Cornelio, Wardlaw. But I've got Simpkin on the bench. I got
Yep.
Tim English, Riley O'Brien. I think Riley O'Brien was a pretty good price, but he's very inconsistent. So I just got him for value. Timmy Tarrant and McRae. I got on your McRae call last week, which is great.
Good boy.
Goulden, Zeeble, Sheasel, and Ford. Eddie Mazda, sorry. So it's a lot of work in progress, team, and I've only got 10 trades left. So I'm trying to keep hold of them.
Be careful.
And then do a bit of a Sacramento surge and just come out of nowhere to win the whole thing, you know?
Light the beam.
Light it.
Now, I'm going to go through each. Oh, shit house. We'll go through it another night because the footy's about to start shortly. I'm going to go through each game. I want you to pick one player from each team and whether you're going to VC or C's. Okay? Western Bulldogs, Port Adelaide. Pick one player from each team that you'll vice captain if you could.
Vice captain or captain?
No, vice captain.
Are we going?
Or captain, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll just go Bond.
Okay. For Western Bulldogs, I'll go English, and for Port Adelaide, Connor Rozee tonight.
Yeah, I'd go Butters.
Hawthorn, Brisbane Lions.
Oh, Neil for me.
Neil
and
I'm going. Yeah.
And Neil and who are you going to go? Hawks? I don't even know.
No one.
Yeah, we'll go just bench. Bench.
I'll go Dunkley, and I think Sicily gets taken out given that they're missing a key back this week. So, it doesn't matter, does it? Warple. West Coast versus Adelaide. I'm going to. If I had Dawson, I'd almost slap the C on Dawson, but I don't have him. So, my one for Adelaide would be Dawson, and my one for West Coast Eagles. Geez, that's going to be hard. Tim Kelly.
Yeah, I'm the same. Dawson, Tim Kelly. Tim Kelly's been really good this year. In a shit team.
Freo Richmond.
You go first.
Sarong for Freo and Taranto, Richmond.
Yeah, I'll go Brayshaw for Freo. Richie, I'll go a bit less big. I'll go Nick Boston.
Oh, risky. I like Nankervis as well. He scores really well. North Melbourne versus GWS, but you can't captain George Wardlaw.
Georgie. All right.
Georgie.
GWS. I actually, is Kelly playing? No, he's not, is he?
No.
Tom Green. Yeah, I'd go Tom Green because we don't really have any answer for him. And then for North, it's a really tough one with North at the moment because there's a couple of halfbacks who are just a bit inconsistent. Let's go Sev Larkey.
Sev Larkey.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Jeez, I was hoping you weren't going to pick Aaron Hall. As a North Melbourne supporter, how do you feel about Aaron Hall playing for North Melbourne at the moment?
He's honestly, I don't know. I think he's a bit pudgy. He's just not up to it at the moment. And it's really bad because we kind of look to him at the moment in the back line, whereas it should just be. And I think it's just because we're trying to get Sheasel on ball because he's pretty good on ball. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd rather Zeeble in that role, to be honest, and I'd rather Hall get dropped, Aiden Core come in, and then Zeeble play that type of Aaron Hall role.
Yeah. I've been told by my usual co-host in Robbie Kennedy that I'm not allowed to fat shame anymore. But Aaron Hall could do with a man shake diet. Anyway, we move on. For me, anyway, North Melbourne, I would slap a C. I think it's going to be the battle of the bigs. Goldstein versus Briggs. There you go.
That's a huge book.
Carlton versus Essendon. I would slap the C if I had it on merit. And for Carlton, I fucking hope he doesn't, but Charlie Curnow could go really large against us.
Yeah, I got Cripps. Cripps and Merritt for me.
Yeah. And then our last game before I've got one more for you. Melbourne Collingwood. Would you slap a C on Grundy?
Nah, I think it's too big of a risk. You
Yeah.
got to go Dacos. Yeah,
Dacos.
Melbourne don't really tag. Dacos should have a bit of a field day, and he likes. You can tell he's a big stage player too. He'd like the big stage.
Now, it's been a while, and I haven't asked you. Jason Horne-Francis, tell me, any more appreciation for him?
The kid's a hack, mate. He's overrated. Or about to crumble. I know they've won 9 in a row, whatever it is, but it's all about to come down crashing. To be honest, look, I'll be honest. Horn's actually a very good player, but I think that we got the better end of the deal with Shees and my boy George.
That's hot.
So
I think so too. Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to wrap up our show. Thank you to the people for tuning in tonight. Justin and I, along with Robbie, we love doing this sort of stuff. The connections and the love that we're getting from the AFL community have been awesome. Braino and Matty O love the NRL stuff, but we do have to tell you that our NBA podcast is starting up, I believe, next week. So watch out for that. We've got some big names who are going to be joining us on the show. Some really good intel, statistics, all that sort of jazz to help you guys win your leagues. We know that NBA is huge in Australia when it comes to fantasy sports. Over, 35,000 people in Australia played NBA fantasy last year. So if you want the most up-to-date premium content, it doesn't cost anything here. What we need to do is get you to like, subscribe to our channel. We'll be bringing you shows almost every day, giving you the heads up, giving you drafts, ideas, and putting you on the right track in order to help you guys at home win the big prize next year in whatever leagues you might be in. But for now, and the AFL Supercoach, Justin, thank you for joining me, brother.
Cheers, boss. Good to be back.
Oh, mate, loved having you back. Robbie will be back soon. We do miss you, Robbie. But on behalf of the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast, the Big Horse and Herbie Bull, we are out. See ya.